Okay, great. Well, this is the January 11th, 2023 Parsons Area Merchants Association stakeholders meeting, our first one of the calendar year, and Happy New Year to everyone. Today's topic is the Columbus Library Business Resources. And I apologize, Ryan, but I have Rachel Fuller speaking today, and then the new business librarian Ryan, and I'm going to let them both introduce themselves and then we'll go from there.
Great. Well, thank you so much for having us. We're really glad to be with you. I'm Rachel Fuller. I'm an information services manager here at Columbus Metropolitan Library. I'm at the main library downtown, and we're in the adult services group, which is sort of a central group that serves all of the branches with training and resources. We're also the reference office for the system. We do a lot of training of our staff throughout the system on reference topics. So we sort of have our hands in a lot of pots. My work does focus on business services, and we are very excited that this year we're going to be kicking off a new business and nonprofit center, which we can chat more about. And I'm also very excited to have Ryan Frick with us here today. He literally joined us on Monday. He comes to us from the New York Public Library. And Ryan, you want to just quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, like Rachel said, I'm Ryan Frick. I'm brand new to the Columbus area and to Columbus Metropolitan. But yeah, I'm the new adult services librarian. So I will be specifically working with the business resources and definitely working more with you in the future. So I'm here to kind of get to meet you today and kind of just learn a little bit from Rachel here. And yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Great, thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, welcome.
So if it's okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I don't know if you need to give me permission to do that. With any luck, it'll work. We'll give it a shot. Hopefully you're seeing a lot of very celebratory slide here.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. And I'm going to just turn it into a slideshow. So are you seeing just my slide, or are you seeing the presentation notes as well?
Right now, just your slides, and they're not yet in slideshow mode, but they're in editing mode. Yeah.
A little bit of a delay here, perhaps, because I am in slideshow mode. Is it popping up at all?
Not for me. Anyone else?
I'm going to try to do it again. We'll try that again.
Okay. And now it's in presentation, with your notes in the next slide.
Okay, interesting. Let me see if I can.
One more.
Turn that off. How's that?
Oh, perfect. Yes.
Okay, yay. All right, well, thanks for your patience. So as you can tell from our very first slide here, we are celebrating our sesquicentennial this year, which I've learned how to say very slowly. 150 years. Our birthday is March 4th, so we're very excited. We've got a lot planned to celebrate this year. So definitely recommend keeping an eye out. There's going to be a book fair. There's going to be festivals. We've got birthday bashes planned. We're going to have a lot of really cool, fun events involving lots of famous authors, and it's going to be a good time. So keep an eye out for more to come on that. But I am here today to talk about business resources. And I want to talk just a little bit first about sort of who we serve here at the library. We serve the public. We're open to all. So we will serve whoever comes through our doors. That said, mostly we're serving people that are just getting started. So a little bit unlike your organization of more established merchants and businesses, we have a lot of folks that come in who have an idea. Maybe they have a side hustle. They want to turn it into a real thing. And we get questions like, how do I write a business plan? Should I even start this business? Who are my competitors? But we definitely do serve existing businesses. And we have, some of our tools work for everybody and some of our tools are more targeted. But questions about different markets that people have. I had a gentleman come in He worked for a cleaning supply company, and he wanted market data on, who was selling the most custodial soap in the country, right? Because he wanted to expand his business. So, questions about competitors, questions about marketing and sort of doing the next thing in your marketing plan. We get a lot of those kinds of questions from established businesses. Who will manufacture this product that I want to make or I want to expand into? How do I get into social media? We've never done that before. So these are some of the kinds of questions that we can help with or try to find some resources on. We have lots of different kinds of resources. So of course, we're a library, we have books. We have lots and lots of books. But I think one of the things that we're actually most helpful with is purchasing subscription databases that cost a lot of money, the kind of thing you're not going to buy for yourself in your small business, but that's really helpful. So for example, business research, marketing, and skill building databases that I'm going to show you some examples of. We also do quite a few classes, and as I mentioned, we are opening a business and nonprofit center, probably April-ish is my best guess. It's all dependent on supply chains and on when we get the furniture. But with any luck, we're looking at April. And so we have always had classes online. We call them crowdcasts. That's our virtual streaming platform. So we have quite a few set up online already, but we also are planning an extensive set of classes in person, because we just know that being a small business or a medium-sized business, it can be lonely. We want to make sure that there's opportunities to connect with subject matter experts, with librarians, with each other, which I think is really important. So that's what we're really hoping that this new small business space will be, is a gathering place where people can get connected and get the resources that they want. So we'll have lots of classes, and we'll talk more about those. We certainly have, as I mentioned, books. We have print books, but we have a lot of online digital resources, books, magazines, etc. Lots of business titles. We also offer lots of one-on-one support. So we have a thing called a Reserve an Expert, where you can sit down, you can schedule an appointment with me, with Ryan, with other colleagues, and we will talk about your specific situation, direct you to the resources we think might be most helpful, show you how to use them. Sometimes we'll refer you out to a community organization if that's appropriate, or somebody who's an expert like a lawyer. But we will provide that one-on-one support as best we can. Now, we're not MBAs, we're librarians, but we do know some of the tools and sort of what's often requested and needed. So we do our best. We do have a really wonderful pro bono lawyer who is here at Main Library, named Mindy Yoakum. She's well known in the community. She is amazing. She is here at Main Library a few times a month, and I'll show you that schedule. So that's a resource for you. And of course, we are the library, so we always have lots of meeting and workspaces. Here at Main Library, we have a wealth of different size meeting rooms, study rooms. Our Wi-Fi is pretty reliable. We also have circulating hotspots, which you can check out if you're going to be on the road. Of course, our printers are always working if yours goes down. So we love to be that gathering space for the community. And again, we are connected to lots of community organizations that we participate with the whole ecosystem of business services organizations. And we try to maintain and increase those connections whenever possible.
Before you move off this slide, Rachel,
yeah.
Could you just quickly touch on which of these services are specific to the main library, like the business librarian support, right? Is specific to the main library, and which of these are accessible from remote locations?
Yeah, so like 99% of our digital resources and subscription databases are available with a library card from anywhere. So that's, certainly you can come in and we'll help you with it at any branch, but you can access those anywhere. The classes, if they're a crowdcast and they're online, obviously anywhere. We're going to have a lot of classes at our new business center. So those will be Maine specific. Our print resources we have a nice collection here at Maine, but across all of our 23 branches, we have what we call a floating collection in library land, which means if you need something and you're at Canal Winchester, we'll send it over. So, you would just place a hold for that item and we'll send it over, usually in a couple days.
Okay.
And then the one-on-one support, if you want to meet in person, we are at Maine, but we usually do that virtually.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions before we move on from the crowd? I mean, I don't know if you wanted this
I would
to be
ask a
interactive or,
Yeah, I'm happy to take questions.
okay.
When with these seminars and trainings and things, are those all taught by Columbus Library staff, or do you reach out to like community organizations, business owners, or who are teaching those courses?
It depends on what it is. So the librarians tend to teach things that have to do with library resources, not surprisingly. So if it's a demographics now or a LinkedIn learning, whatever, we're going to be doing that because we know it best. But we want to bring in as many community partners as possible, and we have quite a few partnerships happening. So we have brought in ECDI. I'm working on a series with the SBDC. We're doing a fun new series called Making Money with Your Art, where we're bringing in some local artists. I'm in conversation with SCORE about some things. So yes, we absolutely want to bring in community partners and business folks as often as possible. Frankly, it makes it easier on us. But the librarians are still very involved and very active in coordinating all of it as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
One follow-up, how would members of our organization learn about those opportunities to get in front of entrepreneurs or other folks who are?
You could talk to me and Ryan, because that's our baby. That's what we do, and we love to talk to people. So we can set something up.
Sounds great.
Yeah, because my number one goal for 2023 is to fill up the library space and to have it just be thriving. And I want as many people in the library as possible. I just think there's so much potential. So yeah. So this slide is just showing some of the periodicals that you can get at the library, whether print or online or both in some cases. We use a system called Libby, which is a really great app. You can get it on your iPhone. I'm getting some nods there. That's great. It's actually super easy to use. And what's nice is you can get audiobooks, magazines, and books online. So that's super convenient. I just started using my iPad for magazines, and it's a very good experience in the Libby app. So just, I always tell people this just because don't subscribe. You can get it for free. Like that's an expense you don't need in your small business. So kind of jumping into some of our specific subscription tools. This is a screenshot of one called Mergent Intellect. This is used for a couple of different things. One is you can absolutely research specific companies. If they're a public company, they're going to have more financial data than a private company, but you can get a profile of any number of companies, really any company in the United States across in this database. You can search for groups of companies. So for example, if you wanted to search for all of the coffee shops in Columbus, Ohio, you can use this kind of tool to search for their NAICS or their SIC codes, which kind of librarianish codes, but the federal codes that classify industries can be used to search groups of businesses or to find, you can search for groups of businesses that have a minority executive, or, you can really slice and dice the business community in a lot of ways. What's nice about this tool is that it also gives you access to First Research, which is in the bottom left, that icon with a little, I guess it's a little magnifying glass. These are very nice reports for folks that are just getting started or kind of want to know some of the financial benchmarks for an industry. It gives you a glossary of different acronyms that people use in the industry. It gives you trends, challenges, what people are dealing with in the industry, really nice industry profiles, which I really recommend for folks just starting out and trying to learn about a new industry. You can also do some residential searching and pull specific addresses. So for marketing, like say you want to send a postcard out to your neighborhood, in that residential search area, you can do an address search, find all the neighbors in that area, for example. So there's a lot of consumer data there. And then in the demographics, you can find basically census data. You can also, of course, find it on census.gov, but this is a quick and easy way if you're looking at expanding into a new neighborhood, for example. You could quickly pull the demographics and start to think about how you might want to market your product to that, that area. So there's just quite a lot of different things in this particular tool, which is why I like to show it to people. We have other marketing tools. We have other ways to generate consumer lists, but this is one that kind of has all of it in one. So questions on that? If not, I'll just move on to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things that people are going to need to try. And then I think at the end of the presentation or when we post it, we'll include it was the best thing to include your email address, and then people have questions down the road. They can, okay.
Absolutely. And we do more in-depth trainings on these specific databases. It's just for something like this where I'm trying to give you the broad view. It's sometimes just easier to kind of give you higher level, but
Okay.
This next tool here is called Demographics Now. This is one of our more popular tools. What I'm showing you here is a market segment report that was pulled from Demographics Now. And what you can do is put in a zip code where your business is, and you can get Experian data based market segment reports like this one. This is just the first page of a report. And it's using their, proprietary market segment model. But what's nice about it is, besides just giving you sort of the demographics of that group, in the top right, what it's going to give you is the channel preference. So how does this particular market segment like to be marketed to, right? So for here, you can, those icons are a little funny, but what these are index scores. So meaning 100 is average, and anything above 100 is higher than average, below 100 is lower than average. So what this is telling you is, for example, that @ symbol is an email indicator. They do not like email, these singles and starters, this young demographic, which, we kind of know, right? But it's nice to see the data. However, they do like texting, which is to the left with the 3 dots. They do like radio, which is top right, and they do actually watch TV, although I suspect that's more of a streaming situation. So this is going to inform your marketing approach for this particular market segment. And what this tool does is give you, for each of the market segments, it's going to tell you how big it is. So for, a given zip code, this particular market segment maybe is 40% of the zip code residents, but it'll give you that breakdown so you can kind of see who lives in your area, and then kind of really get into the weeds on how are these folks living. It tells you about, sort of how familiar they are with technology. Some of the key features are on the bottom left there. They're like, some of these folks are foodies, they're digitally savvy, they're politically disengaged. And if you scroll down through the full report, you'll actually get a narrative that kind of talks about their shopping preferences, their how they like to spend their free time, the kinds of brands that they like. So you can really get some great information here if you're updating your marketing plan or developing a new marketing plan. This is a super helpful tool. Questions on that one? Okay.
No, it looks very helpful though.
It is. We like it. It's a satisfying tool to use because you get those cool reports. This one you may be aware of already, but I like to remind people that we have LinkedIn Learning. LinkedIn Learning used to be called lynda.com. And it's similar to the professional subscription model that you could buy in the marketplace for LinkedIn Learning. It's not exactly the same, but it gives you access to all of the same trainings and tools. And there is a training for everything in LinkedIn Learning. So we use it for everything from people who are just getting started with computers to people who want to take a soft skills course on, managing difficult employees. You can use this as a development tool for your staff. I like to remind people, if you've got a staff person and they have a skill that they need to develop, this is a great go-to free resource to make that happen. There's a lot of business content, of course. So, I took this screenshot. That is just what popped up because I searched for business topics a lot. It gives me a lot of business topics. But there is so much here. I mean, you could go in depth on any software that you could probably think of. You can go in depth on, project management is in here. There's a lot of that. Lots of management topics and soft skills topics again. So it's definitely worth, if there's something you want to skill up on or you want to skill your staff up on, this is a really nice free resource. The one limitation I'll mention to you, because it is a library version, is that you can't save like certificate programs. So there's these pathways through it, and it won't hit your personal LinkedIn account and say, Rachel Fuller completed the management track called X. It won't do that. It won't connect to my personal LinkedIn, but you can get the content, which is the point. So so just know that that's a limitation of the library version that we can't, that's not something we can change.
But you can still, if you did complete it, even though you can't share it onto your profile, you can, claim it, if you will, right, on your resume or on your.
Yeah, I mean, you've done it. You probably could take some screenshots and whatnot to demonstrate that. Yeah.
Because I think, I don't think Sarah Lenke is on the call with Southside Thrive. But Carla, with, what's her name? The one that does your business, your skills development, your career development, Ramani?
Oh, we have updates there. Ramani is no longer at the hospital. So
Okay.
it'll be the one, yes.
Yeah, but I could think that, a lot of these skills are marketable, right? I mean, there's quite a bit of marketable, agile, I'm in technology, right? So data analysis, right? These are skills that I think would really benefit even individuals looking for jobs within some of these companies.
No, absolutely. Yeah, and it's very rich, the amount of data and training in here. So definitely a go-to resource. Okay, so one thing, because we do partner with the small business, support ecosystem, is I just want to always make sure that folks are aware of this Columbus City resource called CBUS Small Biz Hub. I was involved in helping to get this off the ground, and it's a pretty cool website. Actually, it looks a little different now. I think the menu is down the side at the moment. But it's the same website, and it's a social site, so you can register your business with a profile. It's free. You can find, we do post all of our events in person or virtual here. Of course, we also have them on the library website, but I do post everything here. And what's nice about this is, you can, people are putting up opportunities, of different kinds, whether to bid on things or, hiring opportunities is being, that section of the site's being developed. And you can also message people. So if there's somebody you want to connect with, you can use this site. It's just something to check out periodically. I think it's going to evolve and develop, but want folks to know that that's out there. And the idea is to really be a resource and a connector, like the library. So.
Yes, and I went to the NCR leaders meeting yesterday with city staff included, including Ariana. And she also has hired a new person that just started also on Monday, Andrew Borst, and Andrew will be the owner for the Small Business Hub.
Awesome.
As it kind of evolves. And to that point, they do expect within the next month to set up the business to business portal. That would allow a business that provides services to other businesses to kind of make an entry, a stronger entry, right? So that businesses can find each other when they're looking for, resources within the network. So I'm really looking forward to that being available to the PAMA businesses too.
Yeah, that'll be a very nice feature. Okay, so just to kind of show you some of the things we have coming up, we have a little bit of a slow start in our schedule this year, partly because we're getting Ryan up to speed, partly because we're trying to plan the new business center. But we've got quite a few crowdcasts coming up. I'm kicking off with starting a small business next week. We are doing a nonprofit focus series where we are going to start with, is starting a nonprofit right for you? Because we want people to understand the pros and cons of that model. And then throughout the year, we're going to bring in the Grants Professionals Association to talk about how you get your nonprofit grant ready. How do you actually become eligible for grant funding? Then we'll have one on grant proposal writing. And then the library will do one on one of our tools for nonprofits called Foundation Directory online, which is a very nice tool that helps connect nonprofits to foundations that are interested in funding their work. So I know you all are business people, but lots of people. And I always like to mention this because, maybe you're a social entrepreneur or you're on a board. So that's a piece of our work that we're doing. We are going to do a session with Mindy Yoakum, who I mentioned earlier as our pro bono lawyer that we adore. She's doing legal FAQ from the business community. So, how do I pick whether I should be an LLC or a sole proprietorship, or, all these kinds of questions that we frequently get. So if you have a question that you want to submit, we're happy to include it if at all possible. We're also doing a short series, I think I mentioned briefly, making money from your art. So we have an artist coming in who is actually on our team here in Adult Services. She has her own wholesale greeting card business, and she's going to talk about how she developed her wholesale model. And we're excited for that series. I think it's going to be really informative. Ryan is going to kick off his career here at CML with competitive research for business planning. We've got some great tools to kind of research your competitors and help you place yourself in the competitive market. So that'll be great. And then we'll again do some nonprofit and making money from your art. I've got a wonderful artist coming in to talk about how she has licensed her art. She has puzzles at Target. She has merch on Amazon. She has a book. So how do you license your art? So that should be really interesting. And then branding your business. We have Kevin Manley from Heartland Bank coming in to do a workshop on branding. So it's sort of a slow start, but I think we're going to be adding more and more and more each quarter. And those links there are where you can register for the virtual and in-person events. Questions or comments there? Okay. So these are just the details about our reserve and expert virtual help from a librarian. Usually there is a link on our website. We can certainly help assist with registration, but typically people will go through our website and click on that link. There's a calendar. And if there's not a time on the calendar that works, you're welcome to email us at business@columbuslibrary.org, which is also in this deck later. And then our attorney, Mindy Yogum, I shouldn't say our attorney, the pro bono attorney who kindly comes into main library very often is coming in every other Monday and one Sunday a month. We also have legal aid at various branches, although that's typically more for low income folks. So you've got to qualify to receive their services. I'd like to tell people we have that available, but for the business community, that's not always the right solution. And then certainly a lot of our tools, 99% of them, are available online. So you do need a library card if you don't have one already. It's easy to get one. You can, if you apply online, you'll immediately get a card number, which you can use to access any digital content, including the business subscription databases. So you can do that, or drop into any branch with your photo ID, get one immediately. If you do want that physical card, you will need to come into a branch, even if you apply online and get that number. If you want to actually check books out, you need to pop into the branch to pick them up. So you may as well show them your photo ID and get that card so that you can do that. That's a very straightforward process. I will say I am still collecting input. I've been doing quite a lot of talking to folks over the last year about our new business center. And I do have a form where I've just been gathering people's thoughts, and I would love it if, you know, any or all of you could just take a few minutes and fill out this survey. I will send you this deck and you can click that. It's a live link. It takes maybe 8 to 10 minutes, to be perfectly honest. But what I'm trying to find out is, like, what kinds of tools would you love to use at the library? What kinds of software could we install on the computers in the business center that would be helpful to you? What kinds of classes, especially as experienced businesses, would be helpful to you? You know, I know it's a different set of needs than a new startup. So what are those specific things that you're dealing with that we might be able to help with, or find somebody who can help with, right? So I would actually love to hear now if there's anything off the top of your head. I am more than happy to take notes. Any thoughts? Okay.
Don't
Well,
make me call on people.
Yeah, right. It's very early in the morning.
Well, certainly, you know, there's, you know, representatives from several different businesses here on this call, including at least one nonprofit. So, you know, hopefully they can get the word out to their, you know, colleagues and, you know, other businesses that they work with. Jason, I think, is on the Columbus Realty Association board, perhaps.
I just came off a 3-year term on the Columbus Realtors Board of Directors. But I do serve on other nonprofit boards and own a real estate company. So touched many people.
You know people. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Well, you know, as you're driving home and you think, oh, I should have told her that we really need, you know, Adobe Creative Cloud, whatever. Feel free to shoot me a note, fill out the survey. We're happy to take your feedback. So we want it to be relevant and useful to you.
Yeah, one other thing I'll just add from yesterday's meeting before you kind of close here. So, you know, again, it's part of the small business agenda, which is kind of the guiding principle for economic development for businesses. There is an Accelerate Columbus program that should be kicked off, I believe, end of February, that will allow businesses to register for programs that have been contracted through an RFP process the city went through. And they'll be supplemental to what we're talking about here, right? So there'll be some groups that will perhaps, you know, offer direct business plan reviews. They will, there's some cohort type groups, right? So like Women's Collective. There's a small business that's going to be offering very specifically like photography and video creation. And so once we get the access to the application process, that the way that will work is you'll apply for one or more of your top programs, and then, there'll be slots available, if you will, right? And if you don't get your first choice, you might get your second choice, for instance. So I think between the work that Rachel mentioned and her involvement also with the small business agenda, we're going to get some resources available to businesses in the business center, at the library, and through these other programs, kind of all in the spring timeframe.
With any luck. No, it's exciting what the small business group at the city is doing, and Ariana, I think, is doing a great job. So I'm excited to have that Accelerate Columbus kickoff. But please be in touch anytime. business@columbuslibrary.org comes to both me and Ryan. It's forwarded to my personal email. I see it immediately. And certainly, Jason, if you want to reach out, we'd love to hear from you about partnering on any presentations. And really, anytime a question comes up or a suggestion comes up, you're welcome to be in touch. That's what we're here for. Any final questions or thoughts? All right, well, thanks so much for having us. We're really pleased to connect with you.
Yes, thank you so much, Rachel and Ryan. And hopefully we'll all be at the library and we can go visit in person at some point. I guess a couple other small topics I just want to touch on in addition to what we've mentioned about the small business agenda, the B2B portal, and the Accelerate Columbus. Council member Bankston is hosting an in-person meeting at Columbus State on Tuesday. I think it's 6 o'clock.
Sounds right.
And yes, and he's going to go over the city priorities for 2023. What council's kind of funding. He's the head of the economic development committee. So that topic is Tuesday, and I'm sure there'll be some press releases and so on after that if you're not able to attend. The Neighborhood Design Center is going to be continuing with the Power of One grant program. So it was in a pilot this past year. If you've been by Shrimp Lips on Parsons Avenue, they were one of 3 that have had a completed project. This year, the application process will be open, so it's not just pilot. So, people that want to attempt to secure, it's an exterior grant. It's not a matching. You don't have to put up the money ahead of time. The Neighborhood Design Center oversees the process and what the design is going to be for those. So that will be funded for this coming year. It replaces the NCR grant, and it's not restricted to the NCR corridor. It would be any Columbus business. I'm trying to think what other requirements. I think it has to be perhaps a small business of 15 employees or less is what Ariana said is their kind of target for a small business. Doesn't have to be an owned space. It can be a rented space as long as the property owner approves. So, as that new application process rolls out, we will share that also with our group here. And then the last thing I guess I wanted to mention is that for those of you who haven't seen, we were awarded a 614 Beautiful grant, which is a program that Council Member Lourdes has had the city funding presented for. So that will be used to develop new banners for Parsons Avenue. It turns out the existing banners were installed in the 90s, which is a very long time ago, and that's why they are so faded and mostly missing. So that grant has been awarded. We do have some matching funds from Nationwide Children's and from the Southeast Lions Club The design work will be managed through All People Arts, but will engage the community. And will then be partnered with quarterly cleanups on Parsons Avenue that the Southeast Lions is going to manage. I guess I'll use that term. So we're really excited about the ability to, kind of rebrand Parsons even further, get some new arts created for the South Side, and to work with our stakeholder groups that love the South Side. So if any questions about anything I've mentioned there. We have not started planning for Avenue for All, but I need to get a hold of Primo and find out what the timeline on that is. That last year was in the June timeframe. It was very well attended. So I believe that we'll engage the businesses around that program as well as nonprofits that want to attend. Nancy, I saw you were able to join. Is there anything from the city that you'd like to share?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, excuse me for being late. I'm having technical difficulties. Let's just say that. I would like to let everybody know that I send out a weekly newsletter when we have council meetings. So if anybody wants to have that in their email, I'm at Nancy NP as in purple, Sully, SULLY at columbus.gov. We appointed the council members elected Mitch Brown to fill the remaining term of past President Pro Tem Elizabeth Brown. So he will be sworn in at the end of this month. I think that's everything. Did you all just...
Ariana reminded us yesterday that this is an election year, so I suspect we'll be seeing a few more people out and about than some years, perhaps. Sorry, someone wanted to add?
I did want to ask if you've already talked about what happened with Jimmy Lucas. I'm confused as to why that was shut down.
We did not talk about it. I was at Parsons North on New Year's Eve and did notice that Jimmy Lucas was closed. And normally they have a very, nice New Year's Eve, attendance. According to Jimmy Dragich is his last name, he's retiring, from running Jimmy Lucas, and it appears that they'll be looking for new businesses to take on that space, right? Because it's a nice restaurant and bar space. I talked to Aaron Creech yesterday. The two buildings that he owns at the corner of Bruck and Whittier across from the Hey, the leasing signs will be up for that. So he's also looking for, businesses to fill that space. So, we're sorry to see Jimmy Lucas closed. It was a great business for us, but we are looking forward to, inviting new businesses onto the avenue and in the adjacent corridors. Which reminds me, the development at between 9th and Washington on Livingston Avenue, the demolition permits were approved for the existing building, Shane's Gourmet Market, which has been vacant for many, many years. The Ritz catering space that was outside the lines and so on. So with that demolition getting started, we do anticipate that development, which is residential over commercial, will be getting started as well. And of course, the Pizzuti project is well underway, as are the new warehouses at the former Columbus Castings location. So, kind of three different directions, if you will, the north, the south, and kind of a little bit to the west. Affordable housing. So Harry's works with the affordable housing part of CD4P. The Lockbourne Green development is coming along for affordable housing at Lockbourne and Smith Roads. And we have the graphics review for that coming up in February, as well as some changes that Nationwide Children's is planning on their graphics. So there's just a lot kind of getting started again this year. So I'm looking forward to you know, the revitalization, if you will, of the avenue and the surrounding areas. So any questions about any of that, or does anyone else have any updates of any other things that they're aware of happening? All
Did
righty.
Carla-
Go ahead.
Did Carla announce her new position?
Yes, she did. So we're very
Okay.
happy to have
Just
Carla
wanted to
as
be
the new
sure.
director of community relations. So yes, thank you. And we will we've moved these meetings to bi-monthly. So our next PAMA stakeholders meeting will be in March, but do look for emails coming out again about small business agenda changes, Accelerate Columbus, Power of One, our own, banner program and the cleanups that we're going to get started with that. So there's a lot going on, and our communications committee will be instrumental in, making sure that we get that information out. So if you have questions for Rachel or Ryan, hit them up. If you have suggestions for how to make PAMA more responsive to you and how to get more information out to you, just let us know, parsonsarea@gmail.com. So anything else for the rest of the day? Otherwise, I wish you all a pleasant January, and look forward to seeing you all in person sometime soon.
Thanks so much for having us. Take care, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank
Happy
you.
New Year.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.